Are you a physical therapist or another clinician just getting into starting your practice? And have you just run into the wall of pricing? If you are somebody who's wondering, how much should I be charging for sessions? Is it $100? Is it $200? Is it $400? Or if you feel bad, even trying to charge $50 for a session, this is the video to watch because in this video, we are going to go over some really common questions around pricing when you are first starting your own practice and how to pick a price that is going to both feel good and support you in the long run in growing your business. So, if you're new here, my name is Morgan. I'm a physical therapist and a business coach for healthcare providers just like you who are looking to start their own cash based solo practices. And you want direction. You want help from somebody who has done it before. You're looking for guidance and real world feedback, and this is the channel for that. If you are looking to start and grow your own practice this year and you would really like a roadmap, a step by step checklist to take you from just a dream to having 10 plus clients on caseload in the next 7 months, please check out our DPT to CEO program, and the link will be down in the description below. You'll be able to find all kinds of information on the program, how it works, what it's like to work with us, and how to apply. So in this video, I am going to walk you through some preliminary beliefs that a lot of us tend to have around pricing, as well as how to figure out what your prices are going to be. Some of the first questions that typically come up when it comes to pricing is, what are other people charging? Is this realistic? Will people buy this? Those are a lot of the things that I hear and a lot of the questions that I first had at the beginning too. And pricing is it's one of my favorite things to talk about because I think I take a pretty objective approach to it. And I know that I have always felt good taking an objective approach to pricing because then I don't have to worry about my feelings with the pricing. I can pick numbers and feel good about them because they are objective in a way where I know they're going to support my business with the time that I have available. And so for you, with whatever you're charging, I'd love to hear down in the comments, what prices are you charging right now or what prices are you planning on charging? I'd love to hear it. I myself, I've charged anywhere between $100 to $225 for a PT, depending on the model, because I've kind of changed a little bit about what I am doing as a physical therapy practice. The cool thing about setting your own prices is that you can change them when you need to. Just because you set your prices doesn't mean that they're set in stone forever. You have the option to change them if you need to. I wouldn't recommend changing them every day, probably. But, if you pick prices to get started with and you want to change them 3 to 6 months from now, that's totally okay. I want to share a story too about somebody that I have recently talked to with regards to pricing. And another one of the big questions that comes up is, if I charge $150 per visit, say, will people see value in that? And, why would they pay $150 if their insurance covers physical therapy? And I feel like that's just it's opening a whole can of worms into this discussion, but I love diving into this because I think that is a great question. One of the biggest things when it comes to pricing is I firmly believe in the fact that whatever you're charging, you should be willing to pay yourself. If you would not be willing to pay the amount that you're charging for the same service, I wouldn't charge that. It's going to be really hard to sell something that you yourself don't see the value in. So pick a price that, you yourself would pay, knowing the value that's on the other side. And then cash base versus insurance. So here's this epiphany that I think I finally had last year when I was talking to a client of mine about this question. Who's going to pay hundreds of dollars for therapy or for healthcare if their insurance covers it? The thing is that people who pay out of pocket for their healthcare and are willing to invest money behind their health it's a totally different group. Everybody has different priorities in different ways that they want to use and invest their money. And it's not up to us to try to convince somebody who wants to use their insurance that paying out of pocket is better. If they already have pre-established values and they've already decided that they would prefer to not pay for healthcare services at all, that's fine. It's probably not going to be your ideal client. I hear it from everybody, like all of us who get into doing our own practice when we are first like trying to talk about finding a niche. We all want to work with motivated clients, right? Like we want to work with clients who are willing to invest time into their health. So most likely they're willing to invest money into their health as well. And so these are just their two different groups of people, and I'm not saying by any means that you can never like talk to anybody who wants to use their insurance, but instead of looking at it like oh boy, now I need to try to like convince somebody, get somebody, persuade somebody to come and pay out of pocket, because I know for me that doesn't really feel very good. It's a really great opportunity to build a relationship, nurture the relationship, provide education, offer free resources to them. It's a great way for you to invest into that relationship with the person and offer them an opportunity to see what it's like to work with you without having to feel like you have to like pressure somebody into paying cash for your services. And so I think I'm starting to take a little bit of a detour in this conversation and I want to reel myself back in. But I want you to know, listening to this, or watching this video, that you're not alone. Like if you are starting your practice and you find yourself wondering a lot of these questions, who's going to pay me? Is $200 too much? Who's going to pay cash when their insurance might cover the services? Those are all really common questions that a lot of us have at the beginning. And I want you to know that there is a pathway out of it. And it might be a little bit outside of the scope of this video. So as you have questions, please leave them in the comments below, because then we can get into them on future videos. With all of those things, yes, $200 is realistic. People will pay out of pocket for healthcare and for something that they see value in, including people who have health insurance. So let's dive in a little bit to the actual nitty-gritty of figuring out your pricing. And I'm sure as I talk about this, I'm going to talk about some more mindset stuff as well, but let's talk about the numbers. One of our, I think it's in our like top 3 most popular posts here on YouTube and on my blog, is how to figure out how to charge. It's called like, what should I charge for cash-based therapy? And we'll leave the link down below. In that video, I actually walk through how to use a simple spreadsheet calculator that I made, and it's free to download as well, to help you figure out what you need to be charging objectively based on your financial goals and the amount of time that you have. When you are first getting started in your own practice, typically, the business model is one-on-one sessions and you're charging per session. So we have to figure out, like, per session, per hour, what you can afford to charge in order to reach your financial goals. I like to go at it this way, instead of like, is $100 enough? Is $125 enough? And just trying to pick a price that like feels okay. Like we have to pick a price that you're going to charge per hour of your time in order to meet your financial goals. And the way that this works out, right, because we're like a single business owner and we're charging for our time, if you have goals of doing $15,000 a month in revenue, but you're only charging $80 a session, you're going to have to see so many clients in order to reach that goal. And I know, at least for me, I do not thrive on seeing a bajillion clients per week. It's exhausting, and you end up not offering high quality care and a high quality experience, which, leads you back to, well, I can't charge that much because it's a medium experience at best. So by charging more, you're also going to be able to deliver a much higher quality level of care than if you are undercharging. And so in that calculator on that other video, I'll walk you through how to use the spreadsheet, how to plug in your numbers and figure out what your like lowest price needs to be in order to thrive and to meet your financial goals. But pretty much what it is, quick summary, is you can decide on what your total revenue is in your take home, as well as taxes and business expenses. Figure out like what your total revenue needs to be per month to reach all your financial goals. And then you can figure out how many appointment slots per week you want to take. And this is sort of like a rule of thumb that I like typically suggest to people when you're first getting started to keep in mind, because a lot of us forget that it's not just like client facing time. As the business owner here, as the practice owner, you have your client facing time where you're treating, right? But then you also have admin time, marketing time, sales time, all of these other aspects of your business that are incorporated into like your total hours worked per week. So just like a general rule of thumb to keep in mind is for every like 1 hour client session you have at least 1 hour of non-client facing work to do. So if you want to say like still work like 40 hours a week when you're working full time for yourself, I would suggest no more than 20 client slots per week, because you most likely are going to have 20 hours of additional work outside of those client facing slots. I hope that makes sense. It's just something to account for, because I know when I first started, I didn't. And so it was like very much a rude awakening when you're planning for like 20 clients a week, thinking you're only going to have to work 20 hours a week. That's not the case. So it's just something to remember there. But in that spreadsheet, your financial goals, the amount of time that you have, and then it does the math, and you can figure out per session how much you need to be charging. And that is the lowest price that you can be charging, which brings me to my next several points. I love talking about pricing. It's so fun. Like there's so many components to it, and like figuring out how to price something in a way where like it feels good and it's going to support your growth like over the long run. So cool. Going off of the last point there, like that calculator is going to spit out like what the lowest prices that you can charge. So what does that mean? Let's talk a little bit about price anchoring. Typically, what you'll see in a lot of practices is that the first appointment, the evaluation, is going to be a higher number for a single session. And then single sessions are a little bit lower than that. Practices might offer a package of sessions, which would have a per session rate that's a little bit lower than the single session rate. And then a lot of practices are starting to introduce a retention program or some kind of like continuous month to month program or service, something like that. And that might be priced a little bit lower than what you might see in a package. So if the calculator spits out that like the lowest price that you can afford to charge like per hour of your time is $150, then that means most likely $150 is going to be like the lowest that you could possibly charge for a monthly recurring service or the per session rate in a package. For example, if you had a 6 session package, the 6 sessions might be $150 each, and then the client pays for them all together in one lump sum. And then the single session rate might be something like $175. And so, right, like when you're going to sell it, you would outline the benefit to the client of paying for 6 sessions up front will offer them a per session discount, but still keeps you at or above the minimum price point that you can be charging in order to reach your financial goals. And for more on the like retention program, monthly recurring revenue, getting into offering like online programming, remote wellness training, we are learning more about it here at DPT to CEO. But another person that you can check out, his name is Joe Camarado. His Instagram is Across the Continuum, and he's awesome. Had him on the podcast before, and he's come into the DPT to CEO program and done a guest lecture as well. He's an excellent resource. So if that's something that you want to add into your practice, definitely recommend talking to him. So like we have like the monthly recurring service, right? The rate per session in a package, the single session rate, and then we have the evaluation. And this is like where really like the price anchoring starts, starting high enough so that the rest of the things, they feel like a deal essentially. Like if you set it high enough, then you're going to make sure that everything else that you're selling falls well within the realm of making sure that you are going to be able to support yourself in your business. Versus if you use my calculator and it spits out 150 and you set your eval rate at 150 and then everything after that is like 125, 175, you're going to really like undersell yourself. And all of a sudden you are going to be seeing all of these clients, but not making nearly enough money. So we want to make sure that we start high enough so that you're all set and you're good to go. But that's something to really keep in mind. And remember, when it comes to pricing and what we have to sell here in our practices, the way that you are truly going to end up making sales and succeeding in this type of business model is when you are able to communicate the value that you have to offer and the transformation that you have to offer to your clients, to the potential clients that you're going to be working with, to help them understand that what you have to offer is a match for solving the problem that they have, and you're going to be able to help them create this transformation. If you go into this worried about charging like $200 a session and you're thinking that you're only selling your time, like 60 minutes of your time, it is going to be really hard to sell. However, if you are able to position your offer in a way where when you're talking to your potential clients, it truly like matches and aligns with solving the problems that they have and helping them reach the goals that they have as well, and you can create a transformation plan, it is going to be so much easier to sell the services that you have when you are able to present them like that. So make sure that you are communicating the offer in terms of its value and the transformation rather than, $200 for 60 minutes. That's really, it's not going to land as well. And the going rates. So, what are PTs charging in 2025? Like I mentioned before, no shame in admitting I have way undercharged before, and I don't think I have really charged enough, to be honest. This is like a glimpse into my own mental space, right? And it's something that I am working on getting better at is like truly embodying the role of the leader and the expert in whatever area of my business I'm working in and offering so much value that I am able to truly bring the price up to where it needs to be. And a lot of it just has to do with my confidence in things, and it's something that I'm working on. And so I wanted to share that too. So, even though like I've been doing this for over 5 years now, I still have my own like little mindset struggles, and that's why it's so helpful to have a coach, or a coaching program to guide you through things and help you work on your confidence. But anyway, like I've charged anywhere between $100 a session to 225, I think was the highest that I charged for a PT eval. I would feel comfortable now charging 250, maybe 275. That's just me though. Like I have seen practices charge, I think the highest that I heard was 485 for an eval, and I've also seen people charge $50 a session. My personal opinion, very lowest you should be charging is $100 a session, but it's still way too low. We try to encourage people in our program to start at 150 and work your way up from there. It ranges a lot, and so like a lot of the people that I've talked to in the past, like they'll ask like what's the average people charge? I really need to do like some research and see like what other people are charging in the area. You can, but like ultimately, I don't love that because like it doesn't really matter what other people are charging because you're your own business and you have your own financial goals and your own time available. So like your prices need to be like related to you and like what you have going on. It doesn't really matter what other people are charging. So anyway, so that's like some ranges, some specific examples, and if you have questions on that, let me know. And then the last final piece, and this is something that I'm working on as well. You're probably, when it comes to figuring out your number, right, you're going to go through the calculator that I have and figure out what like the lowest possible number is that you're going to charge. And then you can work your way up from there. Sometimes it's helpful to think about like you have like your low point. What is something that maybe like you yourself would have a hard time paying? So find like your high point and then pick somewhere in between. I think a good place to be with your pricing is when you go to like share the price with somebody, it should probably like make you want to throw up a little bit, like at least at the beginning, because you're nervous to share the number. And then this is another thing that like we've seen, and a note for you as you get into pricing stuff, if you make 5 sales and you receive 0 resistance on any of them on the pricing, you're not charging enough. You should receive some resistance on the pricing. If people are telling you like, yeah, that makes sense. Oh, I thought it would be more. you're not charging enough. And you need to adjust it. So just like take it from me, your friend Morgan, when it comes to pricing, there's so much that goes into it, right? And I hope you were able to take away like a few points from this video and just know that like you're going to have to start with picking something that's going to work for you in your business and go from there and adjust. So, if you are a clinician and you want to start your practice and you want help, you want a coach, you want to come hang out with me and my team, and over the next 7 months, get your first 10 clients or more, we would love to work with you. So, there will be a link down in the description below where you'll be able to find more information on the DPT to CEO program. And you'll head to that page, click on the apply button, and schedule a call with myself or one of my team members, and we'll get you started. So leave me questions that you have on pricing, and we'll see you on the next one.